Meeting here in a few minutes.
We shouldn't be recording now.
No.
I'm
Can
asking
you
for
turn off the
input
recording?
from the board.
Victoria, we should.
Hey, Dan, you made it.
Dan,
Faster than I thought.
If you plug in, make sure that you are on mute and you're recording.
You don't have to plug in if you don't want to.
Yeah. So we'll be able to be heard.
Yeah, we can be seen and heard by the audience.
Okay.
Your choice.
Oops, crash.
Okay, my computer says 7 p.m., so I would like to start the meeting. And I would like you all to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call the roll call, please.
Councilman Wolver,
Here.
Councilwoman Corbin,
Here.
Councilwoman Wickerham,
Here.
Councilman Lang,
Here.
Here. Thank you.
Deputy,
By
don't forget Deputy
introductions,
Supervisor.
also present is Deputy Town Supervisor Nazemi.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. By way of introduction, I'd like to reintroduce again, you met them at the last two meetings, but we're getting close to the end of the year, so I'd like to present Councilperson Phyllis Wickerham and Councilperson Ryan Lang,
Thank you.
who are with us in full form tonight. Also with us are members of the Moore contingent, Moore Enterprises, and we're going to hear from them in a little bit. But before we go there, I wanted to mention a couple of things. I'm going to take this off so that I can't be accused of mumbling, although I might do that also. I'm very concerned about the COVID numbers. I think most people are. There's continues to be steep increase in Monroe County and surrounding counties. And I'd like to encourage everyone to do whatever they can do to don't be part of the spread. That's not the way we want to go. And we want to get back to where the curve is flat. And it's strange because I talked to Mike Mendoza and Adam Bello 3 times a week. And when they say they're concerned, they look it, and that's not where we want to be. So whatever you can do to help not be part of the spread, that would be great. I also want to remind you that I have been asked by a consortium of churches in the Rush Henrietta area, the Rush Henrietta School District, to be part of the Martin Luther King celebration on January 14th. I will send out a Zoom contact for anyone who wants to listen. Last year I made a speech and they wanted me back again this year. So we're going to give it a second try and see what comes out of that. Tonight, I also wanted to give recognition to Deputy Supervisor Victoria Mosetti. I wanted to say, I really, at this point, don't know what her participation is going to be in 2021. But I know if it isn't here, she's going to be sorely missed. When you look through the list of accomplishments and contributions she's made over the year, it's hard to find anyone else who's made that much. And for her willingness to be part of that contribution, success is beyond my imagination. So I want to thank her in public. I have a list of things that she facilitated for us and things that she took care of. There's one thing I want to mention, and that is there's a group of people who like to tell that the supervisor, that's me, dumped everything on Victoria Mazzetti that I didn't want to do, and that's not true. It's especially not true because it's a disservice to Victoria. Victoria is not the kind of person you dump stuff on. Victoria is the kind of person who analyzes and then decides what she's going to work on and then comes and asks for your permission. And that's the way the relationship has been. It's worked extremely well until she was told by other board members that she shouldn't be doing that stuff. But then we got reconnected and the year ended up with her making a lot of contributions. And as long as you understand, I did not dump stuff on her. She did it of her own volition, and I applaud that immensely. From there, we can go into the public comment period. If anybody would like to make a public comment, remember, this is where you make a comment. You can ask questions, you won't get an answer. Just be aware that the people around you are listening, and please be courteous to all. Thank you. So have at it.
Jerry and the rest of the town board, the first comment is to keep the town board meetings virtual and for everyone to be masked.
You don't have to be masked.
I'm virtual. We are here.
We are virtual, but we are masked to the degree that we have to be masked.
Right.
My, I usually try not to talk in these sessions, but my mask broke and I'll try to get it on. But right now it won't stay on, it falls off. And I thank the caller for being sensitive to that issue because I am also, as you heard a minute or so ago.
Supervisor, this is Councilwoman Corbin. Could we have the town clerk go get another mask for you? I know there's some right in the foyer if you'd like one.
Wow.
I'll grab one. I'll
I
grab
got
one.
one
It's right here. I'll grab one.
One of our attendees has some
Oh,
old
we got
potato
one,
bags
Pam.
with straps on them, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack.
I'm prepared.
Thank you very much.
Can you see me?
Mhm.
I better leave it on. Any other public comments?
There is none in the chat at this time.
And considering that this is the last meeting of the year, I want to make sure that everyone recognizes that when we started doing this, I got cautioned by two people saying you shouldn't do that. It's going to get out of control. It's going to get out of hand. It's going to get ugly. And we have had one of the most calm, productive years of public meetings that I can ever remember. It's never gotten out of control except twice, but it wasn't anybody who wanted to make sure the town did business on behalf of the citizens. So I can't speak for them, but other than that, it's been a good, calm, democratic, productive session. And I thank all who participated for making it that way. Now, resolutions to approve the minutes of December 9th, 2020.
I will move to approve the board meeting minutes of December 9th, 2020 as submitted by the town clerk, Pam Bucci.
I'll second it.
This is Councilwoman Corbin. I had sent some amendments to the town clerk. One being the amount for the large expenditure that was quoted in the minutes was not correct. It wasn't 21,997. It was 121,997. So I think that would be important for the history of the minutes to make sure we have that right. And I also understand from the town clerk different things that are put into the minutes, but I will respectfully request that when anytime any appointed member or a resident or a visitor chooses to speak, that they are cited in the minutes, in which case the building inspector, the finance director, and the code enforcement officer, I would appreciate being added back into these minutes.
Councilwoman Corbin, this is Phyllis. I understand your concerns with minutes being accurate. However, as you have also researched, they just need to be a summary. So I think that if the town board wishes to have a more detailed, that is a discussion we'll need to have and make that a resolution and decide what exactly we all would need in those minutes. As of right now, reading this packet of minutes, I'm comfortable that the summaries were accurate, and to go into more detail, like you said, we have it on Zoom, we have it recorded. Anyone can go back to the YouTube channel and look verbatim if they wish to do that. Having a summary of the meeting according to the clerk's recollection is appropriate, I believe.
And I would chime in and say, I don't have any problem with doing that. All I want to do is make sure that we have minutes per the recommendations or directions of the Association of Towns, and that we're in compliance.
Agreed.
Anyone else?
I agree with that.
Thank you.
Councilman Wolver,
Aye.
Councilwoman Corbin,
Nay.
Councilwoman Wickerham,
Aye.
Councilman Lang,
Aye.
Supervisor Cusey,
Aye. All right, next we have a presentation. It's kind of like an overview type of presentation. There won't be a lot of details shared, but you'll get a pretty good idea of what the proposal is. And I think Mr. Jack Moore and his brother George are here. And looks like another guy who's gonna back them up if needed. But in general, I'd like them to get started on telling us what they would like to propose.
I believe John Sharava is zooming in to do the presentation,
yes.
and I'll be able to answer questions.
John, are you there?
I am, Mr. Supervisor. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well, thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you for having the time to meet with us this evening, and I apologize I'm not there. I got notified this morning that I may have been in contact with someone with COVID, so I am now in quarantine. So
Oh dear.
unfortunately, I may not be as prepared as I normally am when I present to you. I don't have my notes with me, so I am at home, but I can speak to the project in general terms, as you noted. But I'm with Land Tech Surveying and Planning, and I know the board may be familiar with me. I know there's some new board members. And we're here this evening, along with the Moore family, to request a petition to rezone this parcel of land that's located on West Henrietta Road at the on-ramp of Route 390, located on the west side of that road. This parcel is approximately 69 acres in size and is currently zoned residential. So that's what we're really here to move through that process, get your opinion and how you want to handle this application for rezoning.
And
And in this
John,
request,
this is Gary.
okay, sorry.
Just so there's no confusion, I think I heard you say the on-ramp, and I believe that is the off-ramp, just so there's no confusion.
Okay, well, it's on the west side of the road, so I may have misspoken on that. So the parcel, as I said, is 69 acres in size, approximately 1,000 feet of frontage on West Henrietta Road and about 2,800 feet deep. It's currently active agricultural area with an existing single-family home and outbuilding. It does have some wetlands on the rear of the parcel, but majority of the parcel is well drained. And as the town board knows, this is at the intersection of two major state roads in the town of Rush, so main arterial. I have taken the time to review extensively the 2010 master plan for the town of Rush, and that master plan has cited this area for industrial development. And this corridor coming from the north down to this intersection is all shown to be industrial. It also we're also adjacent to existing industrial lands that we're adjacent to the south.
Hey, John, I'm so sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
John or anybody at the town hall, the residents are asking for a map to see. I don't have access to a map. Is there anybody that does? So that the public can see what like space you're talking about?
I don't have an ability. I mean, I can show a map and put it in my screen if you like. I believe Mr. Moore has maps with him and passed them out to the town board. If I put the map up,
Okay, I did not receive the maps from
Yeah.
Mr. Moore.
yeah, I don't think.
We can share them there for the town board right now for their presentation to the town board. But if you would like them to be shared at a different time on the website, that's appropriate.
We can do that.
Okay, did
Yeah.
everybody hear the town clerk? They
Now,
will
if
be
you could
loaded
repeat,
on the website to view.
I do not have them right now, but the town board will provide it to me later so we can put it on the town website. Right now, the presentation is for the town board only.
So, and thank you.
John, thank you.
So, so thank you for that. We did have presentation materials. I was going to have a full-size color rendering. Unfortunately, without being there, it's been a little difficult. But I will provide PDFs to the town clerk, and she can distribute them as needed.
Thank you.
So again, this is our attempt to start a dialogue with the town board with a request for rezoning. I think the town board's aware of the fact that I've done recently a rezoning process in the past within the town of Rush, worked closely with the town board and town attorney for that previous rezoning. And now we're looking forward to move forward for this request in a manner that you see efficient way to do that. Mr. Moore has also taken steps that he feels that we'd like to, do some kind of public hearing outside the town board's venue for people that may be interested. So we're working on that in the near future with mailings and things such as that. So that's really kind of an overview of what we're looking to do. We're trying to bring in various aspects. There's been some interest for a distribution center, some engineering firms, data processing uses. In the town code, it also allows up to 5% to be commercial. So on the 69 acres, we're looking at roughly 3 acres would have some kind of commercial element associated with this use. So that's kind of a quick overview. We don't have full site plans or anything like that at this time, but I'd like to just move forward with the rezoning process.
John, I have a question for you. This is Phyllis Wickerham. With this project, would the development be done in stages? So the parcel would be rezoned, but then each of these suggestions would be done in stages?
Yes, typical with development, we would get, the way I foresee it, the process would be addressed. If we were fortunate enough to be rezoned, we would then make an application to the Rush Planning Board for an overall preliminary approval, showing what our proposed configuration is, ponds, drainage, sewer, things like that. And then as these parcels became sold, then we would come back for final site plan for each phase and go through the process that way. So the overall preliminary approval would be the guideline to move forward in the future. And then as each of these parcels were sold, then we come back for a site plan.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions?
I think there are some concerns from the public that the presentation is never just for the town board at a public meeting. And then could someone in the town hall hold the hard copy of the map to the camera? Not to display as an incomplete presentation to the public. This should not proceed. And then if the comprehensive plan is being revised, shouldn't this request be tabled until the comprehensive plan is revised?
Well, I understand the concern that you just expressed. And I think that you've got to understand a couple of things that are unusual. You just heard Mr. Sharaba say that he was exposed to COVID. If he hadn't been exposed to COVID, he would be here tonight with audios for the people to see. That's what I thought I heard him say. And also, the process for doing a project like this requires a rezoning. And at some point, you've got to start off notifying the board of what it is you want to rezone and basically why you would like to rezone. And that's what this meeting is all about. This is not a public hearing. This is not a way to get the people from having their position heard. That will still be available to them. But the developer requested that we move as quickly as possible into a decision-making process. And rather than dump that all on the whole community at once, it was agreed that we would allow this very brief presentation to exist tonight, to allow people to come in if they want to come into town hall and look at the pictures we do have, or the plans we do have. They're certainly welcome to do that. And you heard earlier, boy, what's going on? It's this mask. You heard earlier where the town clerk is going to load a PDF on the town website, I believe it was. So there's no way that we're trying to skip any points. We're just trying to get this thing rolling to give the developer a chance to get to the points he needs to get at in a reasonable amount of time. That doesn't mean that this is approved. It just means that we're cooperating and trying to help them do what they need to do to get going.
In addition, the developer is offering a meeting to the public where an open house type meeting where people who are interested and have questions can come and ask and see what the project will look like. I think that will be a great opportunity for the public to have a visual and one-on-one contact with and give their questions. The other point that I think we do need to make is that this is a town board meeting. The topics we discuss here are town business. We are required by law to offer this meeting in public, but it is not a public meeting. So I think that some people may not realize that it is something that we ask for information as a town board, as your elected representatives, to make decisions. We do encourage you to voice your opinions either by email or some type of communication. But it is a town board meeting in the public, and it is not a public meeting.
Thank you, Councilperson Wickerham.
Mr. Supervisor, if I could add just a few more comments, and I appreciate the time. You know, I'm fully understand the issues of the public and they want to know exactly what's going on. And we are in no position to hide anything, or we're not trying to not be open as possible. I am personally looking forward to talking to the people sooner than later. But I think this is the first initial step is, yes, this application that we requested has merit. And what is the next step that you want us to take? And that's kind of where we are. I know we're going to have a series of public hearings, and we'll be ready to speak in detail to all aspects, including traffic, drainage, stormwater, things like that. But at this point, it's kind of up to your call to say, you get out of town, or yes, this has merit, and let's move forward to the next step, whatever that step is on your end that you want us to follow. I just wanted to make that comment.
I have one comment. You're gonna hear 4 more, I hope. And that is, I would suggest that you proceed with the public, they're not hearings, but they're public information sharing meetings. And I understand that there's going to be some other venue than the town hall where those meetings will be conducted. I'm told there's going to be a lot of refreshments and beverages, so I think I would go. And there's also going to be subject matter experts there who will be willing to answer questions, give any kind of information that's needed by members of the community. And I would suggest to the developers that they do that as soon as possible. Following that would be a public hearing to.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I guess I would like clarification on the process as a new board member. We have someone asking for a rezoning. What is the process that the board has to do to get to through those steps? What are the steps for rezoning?
Well, believe it or not, but in all the years I've served the town.
Supervisor, it's Councilwoman Corbin. I know I am not physically present at this meeting, but I am a part of the town board, and I would just like to make my feelings known. Sitting here, I do not have a map that I have able to be shared with me. I was not given a map ahead of time. I'm very interested in learning more about this project, as I think everyone in the town would be. It's a very interesting project, but sitting here, obviously I don't have that information. I was not aware of what Councilwoman Wickerham just stated, that there was going to be a public information meeting, and then you, Supervisor, just spoke about refreshments and things like that. And I do want to remind everyone, we are in the middle of a pandemic. We should be socially distancing, and large gatherings of people. There's other wonderful ways of communicating technically information for our residents as well as our board to have in front of us, so we can have a healthy conversation about this important project that the Moores have brought before the town board tonight. So I just want to make sure, even though you are all there sitting live in person, I'm sitting at home, the deputy supervisor is sitting at home, virtually zooming in, and we are a part of this board, and we want to feel a part of this board because we are. But at this point, I feel as there's some communication that I know I have not gotten. So I'm hoping that that information can be shared in a more fruitful way with not only myself, but with the residents as well. So I agree with you, Councilwoman Wickerham. We need to understand a written process and procedure, not only for you as new board members, but for the residents as well, because this is an important step that we need to take step by step. And I appreciate Mr. Shabra for hanging in there with us from his home as I am as well. I am doing the same, being safe at home and making sure my family is safe. But having that information not in front of myself right here is a difficult task for me.
I understand your concerns, Councilperson Corbin. I don't know that we are in a position to tell the developer how they are going to dispense the information to the community. And the developer has not committed to anything. I've just taken a little bit of freedom here and saying they would do that in their form of delivery, but not in the town hall. And that's kind of where I am on that issue. Now, I don't know, as I said before, I've never been involved in a rezoning. And I've also gonna bet that nobody you know has ever been involved in a rezoning during a pandemic like COVID-19. So I think we've got to rely on the understanding and the sensitivities and the knowledge of the developers to make sure that this is a process that they put together to inform and share information. And we might not get it all at once. Very understandable. I think we've got to be patient and understanding and consider the situation. Again, I hate to mention it, but Mr. Sharaba said he would have been here tonight with visuals, but guess what? He couldn't come because of the COVID. And I don't think that's any reason to give them less than the time they require to try to get us all updated, even if it takes a step-by-step approach.
Mr. Supervisor, this is John Sharaba again. Can I say a few words regarding the process? So
You sure can, John.
yes, so the process of rezoning, and I don't want to take town attorneys any of his thunder away, and Mr. Mancuso can speak to this as well, but it's a slow, arduous process that could take months or even years sometimes. One of the rezoning, I'm currently working on 3 rezoning projects in different towns within Monroe County right now. And we rezoned another parcel in the town of Rush several years ago. The process is fairly clear, but the timeline is not. So usually when a rezoning request is we've made to the town board, they say, yes, this has merit. We want you to go to our planning board to conceptually to see if there's any planning issues that we could that may occur with us rezoning this property. That's one step that's very definitive, and we did that in Rush several years ago. Again, that's not you're not going to have all the answers. It's just conceptual. It's just an overview, and then parallel with that is also informing the public the best that we can as the applicant, and as we mentioned, outside the town's purview, to update them and keep them informed. An informed public is an educated public. So we want to make sure that they know what we're asking for, what the issues are, if any, and try to stop any kind of rumor mill or make this thing scarier than it is. The town of Rush in 2010, spent a lot of money on their master plan, and this corridor is supposed to be industrial. We're adjacent to industrial lands. So terms like spot rezoning and things like that they really shouldn't be thought of. So we're consistent with the master plan and want to move through that process. So that's really the next step, like that I've done in the past, is for the planning board, public hearing with the public outside of that, and then back to the town board to address any questions that have arisen from the planning board and the public, and keep the town board informed.
And Attorney Mancuso, are you on the Zoom as well?
Yes,
Yes.
I am here.
John, do you want to just give us a brief overview of what the next step for the developer would be, so that we are understanding that? I know that Mr. Sharaba's done this before, but let's verify what he has to say.
Yes, I'm happy to. So starting at the beginning, a rezoning in any town is completely discretionary on the part of the town board. Whether they believe a particular proposal should proceed or not is entirely within this board's decision to make at the outset. If they wish to proceed in entertaining a rezoning application, what the board will need is some type of plan. If it's a concept plan, if it's a site plan, if it's whatever it's labeled, but something with enough information to allow the town, with this particular set of circumstances where it's associated with a project, something to give the board enough information to understand the scope, obviously, of what is being considered, and requested as part of a rezoning. In the past, the town planning board has been involved in that rezoning process in the town of Rush to get information regarding, conceptual designs and other things regarding the sites. And, the planning board has particular experience in those types of considerations. The matter then would come back to the town board about whether or not proceeding with a rezoning, which is done by local law adoption, is essentially in the best interest of the town of Rush, looking at things such as the town comprehensive plan that the developer had mentioned, is it consistent with the town's comprehensive planning? And then other zoning considerations, is it, in the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of the town of Rush? Another component of that review, similar to what the board has done over the years with the Rush Associates rezoning, or more recently with the solar project, the Forefront project, would be doing a seeker review. So the town board, because it's first up in the process, would be, and has a rezoning power, would be one of the involved agencies. So you would have you would do a seeker review. The planning board is going to have approvals. They would be an involved agency as well. If this application needed variances, the zoning board may or may not also be involved in that inquiry. And with this type of proposal, I would recommend a coordinated review like we did with Forefront. So all the boards are acting in unison together collaboratively to work through the seeker process, with there being a lead agency, which historically speaking is the town board for rezoning, because they are the first board up, and they are really authorizing the uses that are going to be dealt with in the project, as this applicant, if it were approved, would go to the planning board with. So it would start with the town board with a seeker review and a rezoning application request. And then if it proceeds past that, it would go to the planning board for site plan review.
Okay, all right. So the first step is a rezoning application from the property owner.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would like to comment. I thought I heard someone say that wouldn't it be appropriate to wait for the update of the comprehensive plan before considering anything? And you can't believe how many times that cycled through my head. But you know what? You can't put the town on hold until those kinds of things get developed. The whole issue here is continuing to run the business of the town on behalf of the residents, while continuing to develop an update to our comprehensive plan. I personally think that's the way to go. I don't know if the other board members are with me on that. I hope they are, because I think that's the way to do this.
I agree, Jared. I agree with that.
Supervisor, this is Councilwoman Corbin. I did do some research, as well as Mr. Shabra did, about the 1993 and 2010 comprehensive plan. And I did find that part of this area was proposed limited light industrial. And our comprehensive plan gives the permitted uses that would be allowed in that particular type of rezoning. And I'm curious to know from the developer and maybe the Moores, can you help us, since we're sitting here virtually, to understand what exactly you want to do with that parcel, so we have a better understanding of what kind of limited light industrial you're looking for? I think that might be really helpful in maybe clarifying what your intent is, your interest is.
Are you prepared to do that?
I can, but I think John could address it too.
Well,
Doesn't John?
Anyone's fine.
Yeah.
John, you have
Sharaba?
permission to give a peek under the tent flap.
yeah, well, I guess the first parcel that we have noted on our plan is a distribution center, and that is to be used for a company that is a local company that wants to move to Rush, is looking to have an area where they can bring trucks that use 390 and the 90. These trucks would be used come in, drop a truck, pick up a truck and go. It's not a very evasive use. It's trucks which are, that are consistent with trucks that travel both state roads. And that's really our first active area. That's a 10-acre parcel. So we have plenty of areas for setback and buffering and things like that. The other area that's been some interest is there's another area for a research center that has come up, and that's actively being pursued. I did mention that 3 acres of this could be commercial. So that's an area that's actively being marketed right now. If this is rezoned. So really only one of the parcels is really kind of firm and we're working in that direction. The others are, hopefully they'll come. But that's the developer's risk. And that's why the benefit of having an overall plan and then coming back for site plan approval with the planning board for each phase or each parcel that's created is the way it should work. So you'll have another public hearing for anytime we subdivide another parcel and create a business coming in. We're going to have a series of planning boards to understand that. If there's any variances that we'll have to apply for, the normal planning process is what we're looking forward to doing moving forward. So that's a long-winded way to answer that. We only have one parcel that we're looking at right now, the 10-acre parcel for that distribution center.
That's okay, John. Your words just cemented the fact that this isn't gonna happen next month or 2 months from now or 3 months from now. It's a long, tedious process to make sure that what goes there will benefit the residents of Rush. Any other questions, comments?
This proposal kind of looks like High Tech Drive, just down the street from it, very similar.
I thought that Councilman Williver, I thought the same thing from what I'm listening to. Obviously, I'm not seeing what you're seeing, but High Tech Drive has public water and septic. So is there a different proposal for this one, or am I just putting the cart before the horse on that question?
I think that's probably the cart before the horse. I mean, there is public water that comes down West Henrietta Road, so
Is
that's,
there?
yeah, I think
I
that.
didn't know how far it came down, Councilwoman Wickerham. But I know there's, obviously, we don't have sewers, so there's only septics there currently.
Right.
So this is John Sharaba. Just we're researching all aspects. The water and sewer are an issue. Water is there. Gas and electric is there. The sewer, if we were to extend it from the north to the south of this site, is an option, and it could be a great benefit to the owner and future buyers of this parcel to have sewer. Obviously, there's a lot more flexibility with the uses that can go in there and things like that. So that's one of the things that we'll be speaking to as this process moves forward. But we're just hoping that the town board sees it to say, we want you to keep moving forward.
Yeah. Okay.
Other comments, questions?
Well, I think with the nearness to the expressway, that this kind of development makes more sense than, I don't know how you sell housing lots there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's a prime area for light industrial. It keeps high traffic out of the center of the hamlet. It's right there off of 390. It's right there off of Route 15, which is a major thoroughfare. We have all noticed the increased dump truck traffic on 15. It's keeping it in this area if the rezoning would make sense. But let's see what the application process brings us.
And with that, I'll agree.
Okay.
And with everybody's agreement, any other questions?
Okay.
Can we move on to the,
Thank you.
No, thank
Thanks
you
for
your
coming
time.
in. John, thanks
Thank
for
you very
joining
much.
us tonight.
thank you,
I
John.
hope those test results come back negative.
Me too. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Can we move on to the transfer of funds by Councilperson Corbin?
You certainly can. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah,
All right, there are 13, 14, 15, 4 transfer of funds. And I'll just briefly let everyone know what they are. Transfer 13 is a reclass for highway personnel budget from snow and ice personnel to brush weeds miscellaneous personnel for $6,800. Transfer 14 is a reclass from the town clerk's budget from clerk contractual central printing records management contractual to clerk personnel for $5,300. Transfer 15 will be an adjust elections reimbursement and contractual to actual from elections reimbursement to elections contractual for $470. And transfer 16, adjust to budget for the library roof repair from general fund appropriated fund balance to building capital of $268,777. Are there any questions before I read the motion on that, board?
I have one question, Councilwoman. The number 16, the report that we got from the finance director said it was to budget library roof from unallocated fund balance, general fund unallocated balance, but what you read was appropriated fund balance. So I'm wondering which of those is correct.
I'm reading it right off of what the finance director sent us in each individual little Excel spreadsheet. It says from the general fund appropriated fund balance to the building capital for an adjustment to budget for library roof repair. If I spoke inappropriate or not with the correct words, I apologize.
Well, I don't.
Did that answer that?
I mean, it's the report that he sent us and the resolution have two different things in it. That's my concern.
I've not seen this one.
Oh, that came from the budget director, whatever day is on it. So I guess does it make a difference is my question. That one of them
Well,
says general fund appropriated and the other one says unallocated funds. So I guess I don't know if that makes a difference.
I believe it's unallocated.
Okay,
The one I've been going by is the unexpended fund balance.
okay,
Which
all right.
would be unallocated.
Right.
all right, so, okay, was just my clarification on that.
Understood.
How do we change it?
Appropriated funds, I took the resolution from what he gave us for this,
Okay,
but he wrote it up differently. So I'll pull that information into the resolution.
okay.
And I only have the resolution from the finance director. I did not get any from the town clerk on this unless it came just most recently.
And that should be the same one that.
Yeah, well, the resolutions were on, they came in email this afternoon, but that's why,
So it's unallocated, general funds
Here.
unallocated fund balance?
Here.
Unallocated, unexpended, I think
Yeah.
they're both the same thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, I was Councilwoman Wickerham, are you talking about just transfer 16 or everything together?
16.
Just 16.
That was 16 only.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, Dan sent us an email on last Tuesday that had,
right,
and then
right.
that were in it, yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
So I move be it resolved that having audited all of the unexpected balance of existing appropriations, I move that transfer number 13 through 16 in the amount of $281,347 be approved.
I'll second it.
Councilman Wolver,
Aye.
Councilwoman Corbin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wickerham,
aye.
Councilman Lang,
Aye.
Supervisor Cusi,
Aye. Moving on to the resolution to approve the abstract by Councilperson Corbin.
There is one large amount in the abstract for the installment of the library roof being paid out for $106,857.90. But I so move, having reviewed all vouchers on abstract 12-2 dated December 22nd, 2020 for vouchers 2020-1165 through numbers 2020-1215, that they be approved for payment in the amount of $135,825.68. Is there a
Second.
second?
You got it.
Councilman Wolver,
Aye.
Councilwoman Corbin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wickerham,
Aye.
Councilman Lang,
Aye.
Supervisor Cusie.
Aye.
Can I just make a comment that, Councilwoman Corbin, thank you for the detailed answers to the questions that were asked on some of the different items in it. That was very helpful.
You're welcome.
All right, there was no correspondence. Well, oh, yes, there was. I should inform you that the approval from the treasurer's office to reimburse us for the hard COVID funds has been signed. And you know, the old adage, it's in the mail. I haven't seen it yet, but they say it's in the mail. And as I recall, that was somewhere around $14,000, which is better than the sharp stick in the eye.
Yep.
So there was that correspondence I got from Matt Tweedle at the county treasurer's office.
Yep.
Moving on to reports from board members and departments, can we start with Deputy Supervisor Mazzetti?
All right. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to thank everyone for the opportunity to be the deputy supervisor this past year. It has truly been an interesting and educational experience for me, and I appreciate everyone's support that has been with me since the beginning, and those that have supported me and encouraged me and participated in the good work that we've done in moving this town forward. And that's it. I will speak a little bit later on, but I wanted to say thank you to everyone.
Thank you. Councilwoman Corbin.
Thank you, Supervisor. I have a little bit long report. I'll try to read quickly. I attended the planning board meeting via Zoom on December 15th. First item on the agenda was 517 West Rush Road, where they granted preliminary subdivision a site plan approval with conditions for a 3-acre lot subdivision. Second one was 6980 East River Road for the temple. They went through a detailed part 2 and part 3 of the environmental assessment form. I think it was at least 2 hours. They did an excellent job, and the temple was also granted preliminary site plan approval with conditions. The January 2021, at this point, planning board meeting has been canceled. That is what Deputy Town Clerk Shelley O'Hearn shared in an email, as there are no new applications pending. So I know when we update the residents of upcoming meetings of different boards, that one has been canceled. I attended an online meeting of the Monroe County Environmental Management Council on December 16th, where Horseshoe Solar's Kate Millar, project manager, gave a brief presentation and took questions. This was before Horseshoe Solar had filed their deficiency report with New York State. The status of the human bone that was found at Gola was asked, however, a direct answer was not given at that time. Questions about the 600,000 solar panels Horseshoe Solar will install was asked, do they contain, and the concern over the PFASs. And Horseshoe Solar is, another question was asked, are they still planning on boring under the Genesee River? And Kate Millar said, yes, they are. I also attended another online webinar presentation on PFASs. You're all going to be hearing a lot about that. It was brought up at a town board meeting a couple meetings ago. They are a contaminant. They are a health hazard. They're called polyfluorinated alkaline substances. They're used in the manufacturing of a variety of consumer and industrial products since the 1950s. In the last few decades, and especially in the last 5 years, a realization that these substances may have a harmful effect on humans and the environment has come to light. Government agencies and non-government organizations are actively working towards determining the extent of those impacts and alleviating future impacts. The presentation provided a short background on these PFASs, polyfluorinated alkaline substances, their uses, their occurrences in New York State, and current action being taken by the state to find and address those impacts. Interesting enough, both Councilwoman Wickerham and I were reading our Association of Towns magazine, and we both read a 3-page article in this magazine that was titled New Regulations in New York State Monitoring Public Water Systems for Emerging Contaminants. This was also an entire article on PFASs. So it seems as though every time I'm turning around, I'm finding and reading something about this chemical group. So for the health and safety of our soil, our water, and our residents, this board, I'm hoping will take steps on this issue in regards to the PFASs and their related compounds and other names such as Gen X, etc. Given a wide range of properties are serviced by wells, natural springs for their drinking water in Rush, I'm hoping this board will work with the building inspector, the town engineer to seek out the DEC, New York State, and Monroe County Health Departments to ask them for their expertise on health and safety on this issue and how to test and monitor new installations that possibly could be coming into Rush that potentially might have these chemicals associated with them. This board should be requiring any and all developers, I hope, to test the soil and water before these installations to get a baseline for these potential hazardous contaminants be introduced into our soil and our water over time. And our job as elected official is to protect our town, our health and safety. And interesting, our local solar law number 4 of 2019, if you just indulge me for a few more minutes, reads, the intent is to both encourage the use of renewable energy systems based on sunlight, while at the same time protecting the health, safety, and general welfare of the residents of the town of Rush. The protection of residential properties, agricultural land, and the rural character of our town are of primary importance. I will be more than happy to take on this project and report back to the residents of our town next board meeting in January if this board sees that this could be something, could not be something, but research and education of what this is and how we as non-experts on this subject can possibly bring more information back to not only our own board, but to the residents in Rush. And last but not least, I'll be attending another webinar in January by the New York State Department of State on the Committee of Open Government, Open Meetings Law. Thank you.
Thank you very much for a very thorough report, but also a very concerning one to this person who is not up on knowledge about those substances you mentioned. So I would certainly be one to vote in favor of your participation in that education. Moving on to Councilperson Lang.
Hello, thank you. Not a big report other than I continue to meet the folks of the town and listen to their questions, concerns, wishes. As I've yet to be appointed to any liaisons to any of the boards, I don't have a detailed report such as Councilwoman Corbin, who's been involved with her boards for quite some time. So kudos to her, and I hope to be to her level very shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. And how about Councilperson Wickerham?
I also attended the PFAS webinar that Councilwoman Corbin did. The one thing that she did not mention, and I think is really important, it was presented by the DEC, a representative from the DEC to an Air and Waste Management Association professional group. Very well done. The DEC is very aware of the PFAS structure. The one good thing, New York State is highly and has been highly regulating the use of this chemical for many years. If one of the data that the speaker gave out was that New York State allows 10 parts per trillion with a T use of this chemical in any of its manufacturing or any of its waste levels, where the federal government allows 70 parts per trillion. So New York State is doing a much better job of regulating a lot of these chemicals for use in the state. The one anecdotal little, we have PFAS in our dish soaps, in our shampoos, in our conditioners. So this is something like Councilwoman Corbin said, has been around for many years. But knowing that the DEC is very attentive to the regulation does make me feel better. So that it was an interesting webinar. I look forward to learning a little bit more about how it would be used in the solar development. Right now, from what I've learned, it's used as an adhesive as they're putting the glasses together. So it'll be interesting to see. The next webinar I attended was the Office of the State Comptroller, was a webinar for new town board members. It gave a very descriptive overview of the roles and responsibilities of board members. I also attended the State Comptroller's webinar on sales tax withholding and the new implications that could have for towns. I was interested in that because, as we know, this year is going to be a very tough budget year, and the new rules that have come out from this Comptroller's office allowing holdbacks of payments to towns should be of concern to us. And I also attended a Association of Towns webinar on board meeting rules and procedures that dealt with the annual reorganizational meeting and the things that we should be looking for with that. So I had a lot of Zoom time this past 2 weeks. So that's my report. Thank you.
Well, thank you for a very thorough report. And how about Councilperson Woolliver?
I attended the fire commissioners meeting and presented the plaque from the town supervisor to the fire department on 100 years of service. And happy to report that former Chief Robert Faw is out of the hospital and at home on the mend.
Oh, nice.
Thank you very
That's
much.
it.
That's good news.
Mhm.
Very good news. All right, Town Clerk Busey, how about your report?
I do have a report. Not one that people really want to hear, but the taxes are going to be coming in your mailbox or being escrowed. I don't have the warrant yet from the county, but it should be arriving soon. You will be able to look at your tax bills online at monroecounty.gov. So if you're interested before you get them in the mail, or if they are escrowed, you can go there and view them. I would make a suggestion for the minutes. I know this last time I put draft across every page. I would suggest that maybe the board approve me putting unapproved on them, because people do believe that this is a draft and there will be another revision coming. I think unapproved is something that the board does not need to approve them, but likes to approve them, so they will know that
There could be
they're always
changes.
gonna be unapproved in the format that they see them. But if they read the minutes, they will see if they are approved or amended. So that
Is
is
that something that would take a resolution?
no, just a suggestion. I know that other towns use either unapproved or draft, and just draft across just makes me think and makes maybe other people think that there will be a revision coming. And I think because there was so much conversation about the minutes, that maybe this will clarify it.
Any other comments?
Okay.
I also wanted you to know that I did receive, and the board also received, 2 letters today. I know you have 3 positions on the planning, zoning, and conservation board that are terming out, but they are also applicants coming forward that have interest. But I did get one from Pat Kraus, who is on the conservation board. She sent like a resume as well. And same thing with John Morelli, who is currently on the planning board. So those are also in your mailbox. They were hand delivered today. I don't know if you got them. And later on, I think I'll talk to you about the website proposal, and it's on the agenda. So thank you.
Thank you very much. We can now move on to the highway with Mr. Mark David, but I don't believe he's here. So I'm going to share a little Mark David kudos story and DJ Kyle story. This is going to be interesting. I got a report that somebody dumped a lot of trash way down behind the New York State Museum of Transportation down by the railroad tracks. The person who reported it provided a license number and a truck description. I contacted the Sheriff's Department. I contacted a couple of other people. I contacted Marianne Rizzo, being the chair of our Parks Committee, or whatever we call it, the Rush Recreation and Parks Association. And Mark David and DJ Kyle went down and cleaned up the mess. Interesting, someone from down on Railroad Avenue in the city dumped all the stuff there. Can you believe it? Can you believe that anybody would be bold enough to come from Railroad Avenue into our park and dump the crap?
What better place to come from?
I was so mad. So again, my hat off to DJ and Mark and whoever else assisted them for cleaning it up. I really do appreciate it. How about Attorney Mancuso? Do you have an update?
No report.
All right. I don't think the finance director is with us. And I don't think the library director is with us.
But I have a report from her. So
That would be great.
okay. The library director, Kirsten Flass, wanted it known that the library's annual appeal is continuing, and thank you to all of those who have already made their contribution. She's also appreciative that the roof repairs are ongoing. Although the outside roof is finished, they have moved into the interior portion of the project, so she's appreciative of that. And she also wants the public to know that the library will be closed on New Year's Day. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you. I asked an employee over there today if there was still a leak, and she said no, which made me feel good.
Hi, Jerry. Pat's here.
Hi, Pat. I was just going to call on you.
You were? I thought maybe you forgot me.
No, there's still 4 after you, so you were next on my list.
Oh, okay. Okay. Recreation is going very well. Right now is the time when people are going to jump on the boat and rent the pavilion for next year. I think there's a lot of relief knowing that the vaccines are coming. So I don't think that that's going to be a problem for next year. My programs are still going well. Like I said in my email to all of you, the school gyms are off limits for the rest of the school year, but I do have programs in the pavilion and they're still going on. So everything is good. Not really any problems that much that I can foresee. Everything's been going terrific. I can't think of anything else. I I just felt I needed to come to the meeting because I haven't really been one with Ryan and Phyllis at the meeting. So I thought I would come to see if they have any questions that they would like me to answer that they might have.
Yeah, this is Phyllis. I have a question for you about your registration process for next year's school, after-school program. When do you usually start that?
I used to start it later, but last year I started it in February.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm gonna start it first thing in February because I figured at that time, people will be able to know what's going on with the vaccine and what's going on with their workplace. This year, they ended up just staying home. They never did go back into the office. So I think that they're, companies that they're working for, looking to have them go back in the office. So I have learned from experience that I have to really jump on the boat fast. So February, probably February.
Are you still have the limited number of spaces that you have, like, because you have a smaller amount of space this year? Or
Right.
do you still, can you increase that amount?
Oh, yeah. We used to take about 36 kids. This year was down quite a bit because people work from home. And they couldn't justify sending them if they're working from home. So we plan on doing a lot more advertising and getting the word out to families beginning in February. And that's when we'll be able to get the families ready, getting ready to transfer over into next fall. So.
Thank
Anything else, Pat?
Mr. Lang, do you have any questions for me regarding recreation or?
Pat, I don't have any other questions for you regarding recreation, other than wouldn't you love a big recreation center, big hall in the.
Classrooms and the whole
Yeah.
9 yards.
I'm good,
No,
Pat.
you mean the 1911 building?
No,
Thanks, Pat.
thank you.
Okay,
Be sure and tell Todd we all said hi, Todd.
thanks. He's terribly worried about his surgery and doesn't think he's even going to be coherent when he gets out. It's very stressful here right now.
I can believe that. We'll just give him comfort and love, and everything should turn out right.
Okay, folks, thank you very much for the encouragement.
Happy New Year, Pat.
Yeah, you too. Thanks a lot.
All right, moving on, I don't think our assessor, Mr. Minio, is with us. And I don't think our code enforcement officer, Mr. Tracy, is with us.
It says Rick.
Hmm?
It says Rick. I don't know who Rick is.
Rick, are you on?
Rick
I don't
Tracy, is that you?
No, this is Rick Gatz.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Rick Tracy's on
Our
vacation.
building inspector, John Lindbeck, is with us.
Good evening. I
John,
did,
I apologize to you because we don't have the appropriate equipment for you to show your stuff. But I know that you're capable of getting through what you've got to get through. So have at it.
okay. I did send out my report this morning. That included the building permit spreadsheet. I do have 3 major projects that are in various stages of design. And it looks like these permits will most likely be issued in 2021. The first is for the Forefront Power Werner Solar Project at 8427 West Henrietta Road. They are in the process of developing their construction drawings right now, and we will get copies of those as soon as they're ready. Also, the Sri Vidya Temple at 6980 East River Road. I have preliminary drawings of their site plan. And again, as soon as the construction drawings are completed, we'll get those as well. And finally, Rushfield Manor Lot 2. This is off of the Rush Henrietta Town Line Road. They had some initial approvals from Monroe County that expired. So they're in the process of getting those updated. And we're working with the town attorney to get their private road established into that subdivision. So as soon as we get all those ducks in a row, I'll issue the building permit for the first house that's going in there. I'm also checking, as I reported at the last meeting, on the status of all the open permits that we have. Some of them are from as far back as 2018, 2019, and we're closing as many of those as possible. So that's where we're at. I think we're up to about 71 building permits since I was hired in July. I had previously reported that the owner at 9045 West Henrietta Road was going to be seeking the assistance of an attorney. That is no longer the case, and he is actively working with us now to resolve the issues at the property. We're encouraging them to make an application to the zoning board to approve the business being operated at that property. I'm also having them make application to the planning board to establish a site plan for the property. And we're in the process of finalizing the violations that were issued to date. So that's moving forward at a much more agreeable pace right now. I did review my proposed inspection plan for the Forefront Power Werner Solar Project with Christian Schlesinger of Forefront Power. He agreed with my approach, and once he signs off on the details of the plans, and I did get communication from him tonight that he is okay with everything that we discussed and what I proposed. So what I'll do is tomorrow I'll share that with the town officials so you folks can see that as well. What I'm going to be doing is auditing and documenting the required engineering quality control inspections, the National Grid permission to operate approvals. There's also going to be a stormwater pollution prevention plan that New York's DEC approves for the site. We'll be monitoring that and getting copies of it. And Forefront is also going to be using one of the third-party electrical inspectors that's typical for projects with a building permit. So we'll be getting those reports as well. And I think that with this strategy in place and what we're going to be working towards, it's going to eliminate the need for any outside engineering support, another letter of credit, or some sort of an escrow account in order to conduct the inspections that we need for this project. So I'll be getting that out to everybody tomorrow morning when I get into work. Hopefully everyone had an opportunity to look at the proposed fee schedule that I submitted, along with some proposed edits to the town code. I did get some questions on those from several of the board members. I appreciate that. And if there's any others, I'd be glad to answer those questions if you have them. And finally, I did not submit a report on the library roof project last week. It was a short week and they were just starting on the interior work. So I'm going to continue to monitor that work for the work that requires inspections as part of the building permit. And I'll generate the reports and get them to the supervisor as those inspections are carried out. Any questions or comments I can answer from any of the board members?
John, this is Phyllis. I just thank you for the report. You always do such a detailed report and I truly appreciate it. As far as reviewing your proposed fee schedule, we've all had, I at least have had an opportunity to look at it. And that is one of the items that will be on our organizational meeting list, the January 13th meeting for approval. So I think that you will, I reviewed and all of the recommendations and suggestions I'm, very comfortable with. So that will be the day that it'll be approved or not.
Okay, thank you.
Pam, that change in schedule requires a resolution. It does not. Okay,
No, it's part of the organizational meeting.
John, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. And I will second Phyllis's comments about your reports.
Thank you.
I do not know if our historian is with us tonight.
Oh, she is good.
Oh, there she is.
Sue
Sue,
me-
you're on mute.
She's on.
I am here. Hi, everyone. It's been pretty much business as usual with continued genealogy research requests for me. And then other than that, I have moved the collection that was in the history room away from the front of the building to provide access for the dormers and the ceiling repair work as part of the roofing project. So that's down to the studs now. And once that work is finished, I'll move the collections back into place. And I'm looking forward to this winter starting on a lot of photo scanning, digitizing more of our files. So that's really about it for me.
That's a lot of information for us, so thank you.
Sure.
There's the question for at least Sue, there's a proposed resolution. This is something we have not seen any information on yet.
The resolution that Councilperson Wickerham is referring to were the two electronic devices that you sought my permission to order, Sue?
Yes. I'm sorry, I thought it was included in what was approved earlier in the meeting.
Unfortunately, I was thinking that it could have come in under a certain dollar level and be just okay, but that's not the case. So if you'd like to take a minute and explain those two devices and.
Sure. Well, the one is for a new printer in my office, and that is under the dollar limit. So that I have ordered. And the other is the fast photo scanner, which I had requested funding for in the 2021 budget, but I find I have funds still available that I could purchase it from this year's budget. And I was requesting to be able to go ahead and do that using 2020 year funds for that purchase. That would still allow me to return the $600 anticipated excess funds that I had said I would do at the July budget hearing. So I guess I'm asking the town board members if they would be willing to approve the purchase of that Epson Fast Photo Scanner out of this year's funds. The total, I think you have the paperwork in front of you, but the total I think was $600, 600 plus.
We have I don't have the, we have the written resolution, but we don't have, or I did not receive a copy of a purchase order, anything that explains what this is, other than it's a photo scanner.
Okay, I don't think I don't know if a purchase order has been created as yet, and maybe that is the procedure. I wasn't told I had to create one, but the amount of the scanner is $617. I just checked.
We don't use the purchase orders, but so if you could just explain to them what it is and how you did your research and figuring out where the cost basis was and what it's going to be used for.
Yeah, it's an Epson photo scanner. I have a flatbed scanner, but it's very, very slow. Takes forever. So what this will allow me to do is feed photos in and be able to process that more quickly so that I can begin digitizing in a faster and more efficient way more of what's already in the collections. Okay. So I did the research. I consulted with a couple of the IT people that I work with at RIT, as well as another friend of mine who's in the IT field. And then I did a lot of looking online, and the Epson Fast Photo, and I read a number of different reviews. Obviously there's faster and better ones, but the cost basis goes up substantially. So for this dollar amount, it seems like it's a pretty suitable piece of equipment.
Does it come with a warranty or a service plan, or is that something that we would get somewhere else? Just in case.
The service, I think it has a standard 1-year warranty. The service warranty would be an extended plan, and I did not put that in the cost request.
That's something you probably don't think you'd need. I mean, it's not like your typical Xerox copier where everybody's using it and has more potential to break down because of the excessive use. This is something that you will be the only one using it and it's not going to be overly used to where it, like in a school,
Correct.
in a school copy room, those machines tend to go down a lot. This is not something like that,
It's
correct?
not that type of commercial quality or, business level of equipment. It's still considered personal computer type of equipment. And no, it's not going to be used 8 hours a day continuously. It'll be upstairs in the history office and, I'll be the only user unless I happen to get some volunteers at some point.
You have this money in your current 2020 budget left
do.
over.
I do, yes.
Right, this is Councilwoman Corbin. This was budgeted. She put that together in her budget that she presented.
The budget for 2021 though.
Yes,
No.
but now
No.
as I'm nearing the end of this year, I have the funds remaining, so I'm requesting that I be able to purchase it out of this year's monies.
Right.
So you won't need it next year in the budget.
No,
It's not.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay. Okay.
Sue, you have my support, as you know, from our discussion
okay,
a month
thank
ago.
you. Thank you.
And
I'm as Councilwoman Corbin, I'm in support of it. I'll be happy to read the resolution if the rest of the board is in favor of it at this time.
Sure.
Where are these resolutions? I didn't get it.
Oh, they came in our email this week, or tonight. Here, I'll pass it down to him.
They didn't come out until later in the afternoon because I'm just reading them for the first time now as well. So
No, I didn't. Yeah.
is it all right if I read the resolution? Is the board in favor of it?
Well, that's why you read the resolution and then we take a vote.
Go ahead, Amber.
Go ahead and read it.
I'm hoping to. Being the nice person I am, just asking permission. I so move to approve the purchase of an Epson fast photo scanner from Staples in the amount of $617.99 with 2020 budgeted historian funds. Is there a second?
I second that.
Councilman Oliver,
Aye.
Councilwoman Corbin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wickerham,
Aye.
Councilman Lang,
Aye.
Supervisor Husey.
Aye. Thank you, Amber, very much. And Sue, you'll use that for 5 years and be able to sell it as almost new.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for the research.
All right. Moving on to old business. Do we have a comprehensive plan meeting coming up on January 11th? Would anyone like to say anything about that?
Sure, I can address that. The last time that everyone met, we dissected the documents a little bit further, and everyone submitted their notes, which I will be compiling. From my understanding, Ryan Lang, Councilperson Lang, is helping to facilitate that committee moving forward. And the next meeting is January 11th. And it is from 6 to 8, and it will be on Zoom. Again, I told Ryan that I would help him set up the Zoom. And he will have access to that. But from my understanding, he will be facilitating that committee moving forward.
Comments?
I believe I will be facilitating that committee going forward until I get my appointment.
You'll get your appointment.
We'll dive in right after that, but yeah, we need to do some things to get moving forward on that in the right direction. It's been going well, but we just want to formalize that and get it charged to the proper board that's going to be overseeing it.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it.
How about an update on the 1911 roof project? Anyone want to speak to that?
We've got 3 bids for the roof, and we're looking for an architect to give us an idea of what it's going to cost to take a look at the building to see what renovations might possibly cost. But had a lot of help from Catherine Hankins on putting that together, and got 2 responses so far. Hope to get a lot more.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm going to skip over number 3 because I'm not sure that Mary Ann Russo is prepared to speak to that, although I can tell you that everybody's in agreement and we're just waiting for the paperwork to be processed, signed, whatever, and everybody will be happy.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yes.
Supervisor? What type of paperwork are you talking about? This is something that the town board would have an agreement with the Railroad Museum?
This will be an agreement that is drafted by the attorney that addresses the ownership of the property being the town of Rush, a tenant on the property being the Railroad Museum, and a caretaker of the property being the Rush Recreation and Parks Association. This came as a result of everybody thinking that, at least I thought, everything was set, ready to go, and our attorney was gonna produce the document that everybody would happily sign. All of a sudden, we were confronted with someone who said, well, back in 2016, we had an agreement. And I said, where's the agreement? Well, it was verbal. So that's how this whole train got off the track. It's now back on the track and it's ready to go
Okay, so we should be expecting some kind of
in the near future.
documentation to review before we do anything about it.
In the near future.
Very good.
Does this involve storage by the Railroad Museum?
That was part of it.
And that would have to go in front of the planning board?
That was part of it.
Okay.
We can allocate the land to their use,
But then they'll
but
have to
if
go
they're
in front-
gonna use it for that, they've got to go to the, you know the process.
Okay.
right?
Yeah, well, he's
We've
clarifying it
been
for those
going
of
for
us
a
who
while.
don't.
All right. I don't want to bore you, Phyllis,
I want to learn,
but the
Jerry.
library roof update is next on the agenda.
I just gave it from Kirsten.
And I'm gonna tell you how happy it is to have a library roof that doesn't leak. It didn't even take 14 months, let alone 14 years. And it makes me happier than a clam at high tide. They are working upstairs now. There's a lot of work up on the 3rd floor, on the 2nd floor. And I believe the last estimate of completion was the third week in January.
Perfect.
So I guess I should be excited about the other things taking place, but I'm very excited about the drip buckets being gone off the floor. Sorry for my exuberance, but it's there. The town website, vendor selection and process. Pam, do you have an update on that?
Well, we did send a report, Catherine Hankins and I did send a report to the town board, listing the variables for the fees and whatnot, and we did come up with a recommendation. It is based on what we are looking at for key factors as far as stability, experience with other town websites, security, support, design features. One of the great things was the calendar of events that this one that we selected has 2 different calendars, so we can use possibly one. And an ease in transition because they use Joomla, so it was very easy to transfer our data into a new website. And another great factor after all of these was the cost of it. The cost of it was the lowest that was provided by the other vendors. And the website also that we're looking at is Edmund GovTech. And Edmund GovTech recently acquired Business Automation Services, which is what we refer to as BAS. And my office and the building inspector office both use modules from BAS. So we're very familiar with the company and they're very good with customer service, helping us out, training us. So both Catherine and I did do a lot of research on this and do recommend that the board approve Edmund GovTech in the amount of $6,100. This includes their annual service fee. So this is the initial first year. And after that will be just a $1,200 annual fee.
I can't wait.
Me either.
Good.
I have to say, Pam, thank you very much for doing that and reading their submission, their request was, I went and linked on to all of the websites that they've designed. The town of Hamlin really felt like it was user-friendly. I really appreciated the fact that when I went to the planning board in Hamlin, I could get the minutes without having to search for them elsewhere. So that is, I am so looking forward to a website that is so much more consolidated,
Yeah.
where when you click on one thing, all of your information is right there, or there's a link there to, so looking at Edmunds, I went to their website as well, their company website, and I really appreciate that this is their business.
Yeah. I think they'll
And
do a good job.
it kind of surprises me that they were a reasonable cost, but then again, because this is their business, they're more efficient in the way they do things. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for your support, Councilwoman Wickerham.
Pam,
And-
it's Councilwoman Corbin, if I could just, what, I know we have seen that a lot of our products that we utilize in the town hall have an annual maintenance fee and things like that. What, can you just help us understand what their annual service fee encompasses, just for all of us? Of the $1,200, do you know?
They're the ones that are gonna hold it. They're the ones that are gonna offer the hosting of it. So much like our eCode 360 and our general code information, much like what we have our service for our BAS and our IPS systems. They're updating them constantly. They're giving us emails on new updates or patches or whatever they're doing and updating. So we're getting service firsthand from them. We're not having to wait or realize that we don't have what we need and we're not updated. Right?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Moving on to number 6, Councilperson Corbin.
Can we have a
Do we want to do the
resolution for
resolution?
that?
Oh, I'm
on that?
sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yep,
I'd like
we
to
do
read
want
that.
to.
I can read that if
Thank
that's
you.
all right. I move to accept the town clerk and the supervisor's secretary recommendation to approve the Edmunds GovTech 2020 Town of Rush website design and development proposal, 661 Plank Road, Clifton Park, New York, 12065, in the amount of $6,100 pending town attorney review and approval. Do I have a second?
I
I'll second.
Councilman,
Second.
Everybody seconds that one.
Councilman Williver,
Aye.
Councilwoman Corbin,
Absolutely, aye.
Councilwoman Wickerham,
Aye.
Councilman Lang,
Aye.
Supervisor Cusey.
Aye.
And thank you, Councilwoman Corbin, because she initialized, get this thing going.
It was on
All
that
right.
budget for how many? Pam, you did, thank you, and Catherine, you did the legwork. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you to all. Item number 6, the update on the battery moratorium research work group. Councilperson Corbin, do you have an update on that?
I will be having a very thorough update in January. That's all.
That works for me. Do we have a tier 3 solar project in town update?
We do, tonight, under new business, we will be discussing local law potential number 3 for Forefront at 8427 West Henrietta Road. It is to create a solar energy system overlay district. We did receive the 239M from Monroe County today, and we'll discuss that under new business. Also, Horseshoe Solar, as I alluded to earlier, has filed their answer to the deficiency report that was given out by the siting board. This is Horseshoe Solar's report, no one else's. It can be found on the DPS website, and you can get to it very easily from our soon-to-be old website, where Supervisor Secretary has created a link called Large Scale Solar Installations. And if you click on that, look for the report dated December 22nd. It's very lengthy. And that is my update on solar.
Thank you so much. I believe we've already talked about the permit fee structure.
Not really, because the resolution in here suggests something that I was not aware of. So I'd like to have a conversation on how we went from
Well, I
$5
thought that you were
per.
the one who said we're gonna do that next year, at the organizational meeting. Maybe I misunderstood
No,
you.
this is the resolution to, this one says there's a resolution to amend the 2020 solar application of Tier 3 solar installations, the resolution.
I'm talking
Because-
about the permit fee structure for solar installation.
That's what I'm talking about too.
Oh, I didn't
well-
think I heard you say that. Okay.
Councilman Wickerham, I think it's just my not understanding what was on the agenda, what it was exactly for, if you were doing this independently
Okay,
or not. So I didn't know if you're gonna add this to it now and then approve the 2021. So if anything, I gave you the proposed resolution, maybe an error.
okay.
What would you like to do?
Well, I guess I would like to understand, because this is suggesting that we're going to have a flat solar installation permit fee rather than a $5 per kilowatt solar installation permit fee. So I guess I'm confused as to where the flat fee came from as opposed to the dollar per kilowatt. Because I have not had that conversation.
Is our building inspector still with us?
I do not see him on the participant list.
This is something that we
Because
can
it-
get clarification.
this is Councilwoman Corbin. Depending on what happens with Forefront tonight, Supervisor and Board, we want to make sure we have the appropriate permit fee for when they come and apply for their permit. Attorney Mancuso, I don't know if there's anything you can add to that, but we want to make sure that we are on top of this as Forefront is getting closer and closer. Attorney Mancuso, do you have anything to add?
Yes, but I don't think it's appropriate for Councilperson Wickerham to vote if she's confused on that.
But all discussion prior to leading up to this page in front of us was a $5 per
Kilowatt.
kilowatt.
So I guess that's where I'm kind of confused is I understand the concern about making sure that we're ahead of the game prior to the application. But where did this flat fee come from?
I
Was
agree.
that?
I
Yeah,
agree.
okay, so this is something that if it's all right with the rest of the board, I will write an email to John tomorrow asking about this and the discrepancy in information.
Very good.
Is that all right?
Attorney
Okay.
Mancuso, can you add anything to that? Do you know anything about this potentially?
I do not. From a timing standpoint, the only question I will pose to the board is whether Forefront is intending on applying for and securing a building permit between now and the next time the board is going to meet to approve a fee structure. I can't speak to the substance of the fee structure because that's something that I wasn't consulted on. But from a timing perspective, that's the only question I'll pose to the board.
Could I ask the
I
town
think-
clerk, is there any way she could get a hold of, or somehow get a hold of Mr. Limbeck, that he could come back and join us to have that discussion later on in the meeting?
Well,
No.
I prefer not to do
Yeah, I
that.
I'd rather not do that, put him on the spot.
and I'd like to get this in writing and where the justification, and that way we all are we're hearing the same thing or reading the same thing, so.
The $5 fee structure, I remember he
Yeah.
presented to this board.
Yeah,
And he told where he got that $5 fee structure
Right.
from.
right, so I mean, I was.
Well, what's missing?
Well, what's missing is, that that's not what the resolution says. The resolution
Well-
says flat $25,000 permit fee.
Councilwoman Wickerham, we need to find out, it's Amber, town clerk, did you write this resolution just for clarification, based on what you thought you heard? Or did this come pre-written from someone?
None of the resolutions are pre-written from anyone unless the town attorney gives me a resolution. So as
Okay,
I spoke to Councilman Wickerham, it is in my error that I presented it as proposed, not something that is in concrete.
Right, so it's not here yet. But but that's still the discrepancy, and it's not your responsibility to clarify.
I knew it was
Yeah.
on the agenda, so
Yeah, but
I
But you didn't pull out the $25,000 out of a rabbit's hat.
No.
Okay, so.
I think we discussed the $25,000
At one
works
point.
for the Warner, but it won't work.
right,
But yeah, see, but this is doing
So
it
it
for.
needs to be based on
Yeah.
size.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's
And-
where, that's the clarification.
Confusion.
Yeah. And
right.
we-
And that is what building inspector Limbeck said, $5 a kilowatt,
Right.
and based on what forefront was, it would come out to be 25,000. So I think there's just a misunderstanding of what is written here.
I think that as long as we clarify that the resolution should read $5 per kilowatt, but we can, if we need to call a special meeting before the application gets submitted, we do that. But I think we definitely need to have a written
we can't.
clarification.
We can't pass that.
Right, okay, perfect.
I will give Mr. Limbeck a heads up.
Okay.
Going on to new business. A resolution for the local law to create a solar energy system overlay district for Forefront Power LLC for the development of a Tier 3 solar energy system at A427 West Henrietta Road. Does someone have a resolution to read?
We do.
It's a long one.
Okay. It's a long one. I can do that if you want. Yes?
Ryan.
Or Ryan? Go ahead, okay.
Resolution of the town board of the town of Rush regarding local law number 3 of 2020 to amend the official zoning map of the town of Rush to create a solar energy systems overlay district for Forefront Power LLC's development of a Tier 3 solar energy system at 8427 West Henrietta Road. Whereas Forefront Power LLC, the applicant, has applied to the town of Rush, the town, pursuant to section 120-74 of the zoning law of the town of Rush, the town zoning law for the development of the Werner Solar 5 megawatt alternating current photovoltaic array on 22.28 acres, the project site of an approximately 116.48 acre parcel of land located at 8427 West Henrietta Road, Rush, New York. The property, the foregoing proposed project, and whereas on June 10th of 2020, in accordance with the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law and the regulations adopted pursuant to hereto to 6 NYCRR Part 617, as amended, collectively referred to as seeker. The town board satisfied the requirements of seeker with respect to the project by adopting by resolution a negative declaration, the seeker resolution. And whereas on or about July 21st, 2020, the town referred the project to the Monroe County Department of Planning and Development, together with a full statement on the project. And on August 11th of 2020, the Monroe County Department of Planning and Development provided a response, which has been considered by the town board as required by section 239M of the general municipal law. And whereas on August 12th, 2020, pursuant to resolution number 161-2020, the Rush Town Board approved the application for the creation of a solar energy systems overlay district for the project at the property, the overlay district resolution. And whereas on or about November 30th, 2020, the town referred the proposed local law to the Monroe County Planning Department, together with a full statement on the proposed action as required by section 239M of the general municipal law. And on December 28th of 2020, the Monroe County Department of Planning and Development provided a response, which has been considered by the town board as required by section 239M of the general municipal law. And whereas a public hearing on local law number 3 of 2020 was held on November 24th, 2020, in accordance with the requirements of the New York Municipal Home Rule Law and New York Town Law, a notice was posted as required by law. And whereas all persons at the hearing desiring to speak on the matter were heard, all correspondence on the matter was read, and these statements were considered by the town board. And now, therefore, be it resolved, upon due consideration by the town board, the seeker resolution and overlay district resolution is incorporated by reference to specific findings of this resolution and shall have the same effect as the other findings herein. And local law number 3 of 2020, a copy of which is incorporated by reference, is hereby adopted to amend the official zoning map of the town of Rush to create a solar energy systems overlay district for the project. And be it further resolved that notice of the resolution shall be filed and circulated to the extent required by any applicable provision of the code of the town of Rush and or any relevant statute or regulation. And be it further resolved that said resolution in local law number 3 of 2020 shall take effect immediately upon its filing in the office of the Secretary of State in accordance with section 27 of the New York Municipal Home Rule Law.
Yep, keep going.
The adoption of the foregoing resolution was moved by, do I have anybody? By myself, Councilman Lang,
Hi, John.
seconded by,
Phyllis Wickerham.
and duly put the vote, which resulted as follows.
Okay.
Okay, John Lumbeck is calling on the phone.
Oh,
So John, could you, just repeat what you said?
Sure. You ready for me or?
Can you hear it?
no,
No.
Hold on.
you turn the volume up. Okay.
Okay, John.
The $5 a megawatt comes out to $25,000 for a 5 megawatt system. So if you do the flat fee for 25,000, it's the same charge from the
We understand that for the forefront project, but the way that this resolution reads, it's a flat fee for any permit that is submitted.
Okay, then if you want to do the $5 a megawatt, that's
Right.
okay too.
Right. I mean, that's something that we.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll send you an email tomorrow so that you can put in writing the exact fee structure that you are proposing.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
Thanks, John.
Thank you,
Thank you.
John.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Okay.
You got a second?
Before the interruption, I had moved
Sorry.
to make the resolution going forward by myself, Councilman Lang. It was seconded by Councilwoman Wickerham, and duly put the vote, which resulted as follows.
Yes.
Councilman Wolover,
Aye.
Councilwoman Corbin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wickerham,
Aye.
Councilman Lane,
Aye.
Supervisor Tucci.
Aye.
Congratulations, John.
There you go.
Okay.
At the last meeting, we talked about a resolution to approve an additional day off in honor of the federal
Do
holiday
we
of
have,
Martin Luther King
Jerry,
Jr.
before you go there, do we not also have to do or is this part of this, there's something else attached to this? Local law number,
Councilwoman Wickerham, I spoke with Attorney Mancuso, and that is the local law. I asked if that had to be read into the record, and he said, no, it's the resolution that gets read into the record.
okay, so that this law does not need board approval. Okay, perfect, thank you. All right, confused.
Our resolution approved the law. That is just what the law is.
Perfect, thank you.
At our last meeting, we discussed a resolution to provide an additional day off to honor the federal holiday of Martin Luther King Jr. Is a resolution prepared for such a proposal?
One's not needed.
No,
It is not prepared.
well, it's not
Not-
really needed if we put it into our organizational meeting approvals.
All right, then.
So you designate as human resources or as human resource officer, what holidays the town will acknowledge.
Well, I think that the approval of the board should be had to give another day off.
It's Councilwoman Corbin. I just have a quick question. I'd like to do some more research in the employee handbook because in speaking with the finance director on this, my understanding there's a difference between full-time employees, salaried part-time, and hourly part-time. And if this is any day off, the people that would not normally get this as a paid holiday might be losing potential income. So I just want to make sure before the organizational meeting, we really understand what this means to all employees. Does that help
Exactly.
everyone what I'm referring to?
I know that, and to piggyback on what Councilwoman Corbin is saying, in the general business industry, if a part-time employee happens to work on the day that would be celebrated, they would get paid for that day. But if that isn't their usual day so a part-time employee who works Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you have a Monday off, they would get it. But if they work Tuesday, Thursday, they would not get paid for that Monday holiday. So it's, that's something that we definitely have to clarify on how it would work for all employees.
Right.
Or if you got called in on a holiday,
Right,
to work, it'd be holiday pay versus a regular day
Right.
off. So it's
Right.
a couple things to have to consider.
Well, maybe Supervisor QC, you could explain this a little bit about the part-time people that do work here. If they work 20 hours and we do have a day off, they have the choice of completing those 20 hours if they have enough work on a different day.
What I would like to do is talk to the finance director and make sure that we don't step on the footprint of any other day off program and come back with a resolution that will be all inclusive.
okay, agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also, at the last meeting, we talked about becoming a tree city. Any comment on that from anyone?
I believe we discussed putting that off until a little bit later into the springtime, early spring, and not come up with a resolution prior to the end of this year. And that although it was portrayed at time was of the essence, it seemed that we had some time to look at the fact and do a little bit more research on that, that area.
There were a lot of unanswered questions.
Yes, there were. That's what I'm looking for,
Yep.
if anybody has them.
Yeah, well, I think that we need to go through the application process and see, and there were many questions that I had on it. I mean, just a couple that I noted was how and who appoints the board members, who's responsible for the development of the tree ordinance, what does the budget per capita amount to, and where, where are we getting that money and how is it being, and if we're committing to an Arbor Day observance, an annual town Arbor Day observance, which we would have to do, where's the cost from that? How is that getting, there were a lot of questions that, it is it's a nice idea, but I think that it's not something that we have to do right now. I think that if we can get some of these questions answered, or at least those are my questions. Other people may have other questions
Well,
that
you
I would
may-
like to,
You may recall, I wondered what happens if we get a Dutch elm blight? What if we get what is
well,
ash borer?
Ash borer.
But
I think,
that, I don't know and those are some of the questions that we would
Yeah.
have for the, yeah.
Well, I didn't know if anybody might have been prepared to
Yeah.
respond or.
I think the highway super.
I think Ryan is right, that we are going to hold off until the January meeting. I think that that's what we discussed at the previous meeting, was that we were going to hold off and wait.
I
Yeah,
seem to
little
remember
past
that
January.
we were going to
Yeah.
the spring.
Yes.
We were going into the spring to talk about it, but I agree with Councilman Woolever. We should include the highway superintendent in here because
He tends to trees
he
now.
tends the trees now, and is this something that he would see as beneficial? So I think that we have a lot of
Yeah.
information to gather, and it's not critical that it be done right away. So we can do our due diligence in finding the information and asking the RPA to provide us with those answers.
I agree.
Is there someone of the board that would like to take that on of reaching out to the highway superintendent and just starting to get some of those questions answered before then, or we want to wait till that point and then move forward?
All that the last presentation was made by Carol Barnett.
Right.
And I believe Carol went away with a list of questions that we wanted answered. I just brought it up to see if somebody might have produced some answers.
Right.
Some people work faster than others.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the answers aren't tonight because we did give it some time to come back with those answers, so.
Right. So we can,
All true.
Yeah.
All right. then
yeah, exactly, because we gave it till spring to come back with a proposal and answers. So, okay.
Then we'll move on to number 4, and that is a discussion of 2021 resource planning and town resident priorities. And you can see them listed, the town waterfront revitalization project, which I have an update on. The 1911 town property, the comprehensive plan, one that did not show up until it was suggested to me. That is the town hall preventive maintenance plan, and the Rush Riverside Refuge. But I intend to use the assignment for one of the board members to the Rush Riverside Refuge. So I don't know how much energy there is among you to talk about this list of 5 things. But if you think that just a couple of updates will do, or if you want to discuss it in detail, I leave it up to you.
Well, this is Councilwoman Corbin. I'm very familiar with the revitalization project, 1911, comprehensive plan, and the Rush Riverside Refuge. But obviously, doing the abstract every couple of meetings, the amount of money that we are putting into our heating system and air conditioning and things like that, I think putting the town hall preventative maintenance as a hot topic for 2021 is well worth it, so that we can make some sort of long-term and short-term goals or projects that have been overlooked for quite some time. So I'm glad to see that on this discussion. So thank you.
And are you asking Supervisor how we want to prioritize these 5 things, or whether we believe all 5 are priority projects, or is what are you asking?
Are all 5 priority projects,
Okay.
number 1. we, per the conversation that just took place, we have not allocated any funds for preventative maintenance in the
Right.
town hall.
Okay.
That scares the bejeebies out of me
I would
because,
put that as a priority one project.
because what happens if the wind blows the
Yeah.
roof off of this building,
Yeah, well, and we've already had
for example?
the heating and cooling system.
We had
and- yeah.
multi-thousand-dollar repairs on the systems this year.
Yeah, so I think that could be our priority one project for the coming year. And
Yeah.
do that one. The comprehensive plan, I think that is something that, it's an ongoing, it's a priority to continue. I don't know that it has a number value to it.
Well, Phyllis, I will say it definitely, I say all 5 are up there. I don't know how you would prioritize one over the other with the amount of development that's coming into our town. We need to update our plans so we know where we want this development to take place in a
I
plan.
agree with that. I agree with that. That all of these things are priority for the coming year, but which order do we want to take? I mean, the comprehensive plan is an ongoing discussion. I think that needs to be finished, started and finished. We need to make a decision on how we're going to go about it, who's going to be responsible for it.
Sooner than later.
Sooner than later. And if we do that in the month of January or the month of February and make sure that those decisions are made then, so that the comprehensive plan committee can go forward with their work, then it is a started project with the committee taking over as the work. The town hall preventative maintenance plan is something that the town board itself can work on as a priority project. The Riverside Refuge and the water revitalization project are kind of, they're all over in that same area. So would the committee, the RPA and, the RPA be the ones that would be our resource for information on that, or resource for or how are we going to decide what it is we want out of these? I guess that's my question.
On the LWRP, they have already asked for 1 coordinator and 2 representatives.
Okay,
The 2 representatives have been assigned. You and I talked about the coordinator
Okay.
position.
who are the representatives?
Robert,
Cam Wait.
I can help you with that. Can I help
Thanks,
you,
Mary Ann.
Mary Ann?
certainly. Robert,
Hi, Mary Ann Rizzo. So we have on the local waterfront revitalization project, we have Julia Liederman, Robert
right.
Kraus,
Robert Kraus, thank
Mary
you.
Ann Rizzo.
Okay, so the 3 of you are already on this project.
No,
Yes.
they have been assigned to the project. They have not been activated yet. And that was an update I wanted to give today. Some government official just signed the approval for this project to go forth.
Okay,
And don't ask me who, because I can't remember.
it's okay.
But I got the
There's 2
notice
Okay,
that it is now a viable project and it will be going forth.
okay,
So we've got to
Okay.
assign a coordinator. And we've got the 3 representatives.
okay. And they would be, I mean, the 3 representatives and a coordinator would be working with the town of Henrietta, because
Yes.
this is a joint venture.
All true.
Okay, all right, no, so that project is already in the works then. It just needs to, it's got the approval and now it's just going to start moving.
All true.
Okay, all right, so that one, we can kind of check off our to-do list, so to speak, because it's to done.
The only ones are,
It's to done. I like that. But it'd be great to get, say, monthly reports or every 2 months. We need a timeline so that this is constantly, we're being updated as well as the residents, because this is a
That
great,
probably would depend on how often they meet and
Yep.
gather information. 'Cause that would be, because the town of Henrietta is the lead
The
agent
lead-
in it, so
Town of
yeah.
Henrietta is
So
the
we're
lead
kind of at the,
contractor.
yeah, we're kind of at the mercy of how the town of Henrietta plans.
And everything was uncertain till today when we got
Okay.
that notification.
Okay, all right. So are
that's
you saying
wonderful
you
news.
need someone else besides these three people?
We need the three people,
We need
Right.
and a board member.
And a
Mary
board
Ann
member,
Rizzo.
okay.
and you.
And me, I told you I would love to do this.
I know you did.
Okay. Thank you. I would love to do that.
Good. The 1911 property, where do we want to go with that?
Kind of waiting for some information from an architect.
And you told me your desire to continue with that project.
I'll go on with it.
Okay. Sounds good. And we got Ryan on the comp plan.
I have a comment on the comprehensive plan though.
Okay.
I mean, I know that when Victoria started the whole comprehensive plan last year, or this year, early this year, in just reaching out to a few vendors to see typical cost of helping this endeavor, in looking at other towns and what they've gone through, you know, the price tag of 85,000 was high and a sticker shock, but in looking at everybody's most recently developed comprehensive plans in towns, it's apparent that they did have to use some sort of professional service outside of the professionals and the townspeople that we have here on this committee. So something going forward is that even from as early going as deciding on how we start out the comprehensive plan, you may need some consultation. So that's something that is going to have to heavily be looked at, whether it be depending on prices and looking at that, if an RFP has to go out or whatever method we need to look at. And obviously to stay away from that $85,000 price tag and utilize the people that have been on the committee and their expertise is very helpful. The engineers that we've been, that live within town, from all sorts of assistance, the farmers, very helpful. You know, it's a big undertaking, but it's apparent in looking at other towns like the town of Chilai, town of, I think, Mendon, who've recently updated their comprehensive plans, that they had to utilize some outside service to get them through, from whether it could just be a starting point. And that's something that I'll start looking at, and Victoria can help me out with, going back to some of the firms that she already contacted, and maybe, come up with a scaled down version, but it's something that is going to be necessary to continue on with this project.
I don't think we need an $80,000 consultant, but I do think we need a professional facilitator. And I do think that we can't do it in-house without that kind of expertise to facilitate and move it along.
No, and already the discussions and the meetings that we've had since Victoria's been leading this, each meeting has progressed to the point where each person in the group is brought to the table a method of what needs to be looked at, and each meeting comes out something new. So in some of the suggestions of starting points of what the town wants, and again, not to steal Catherine Hankins' choice word of a survey, but even just redoing a one-page survey and just saying, what does the town want, and get it out there and get them back. And if we get a 30% return rate, then that's what we get. If we get a 90% return rate, even better, but we need to get something out there.
And having a
Okay.
new website will make that easier.
Yes. So, yeah.
3 months.
But I'd be glad to continue on with the comprehensive plan.
The last one is the Rush Riverside Refuge. And
Me,
you
pick
might-
me, pick me, pick me, pick me. I'll take that one.
I
So
don't
Jerry and Councilwoman Corbin, I can speak to that. The horse's friend, she actually reached out to me today and they were prepared to present tonight. And so I just let her know that they weren't on the agenda tonight, but that they will be for one of the future January dates. I said that I would get back to her and let her know. She did email me their PowerPoint, and said, she wrote, hang on, let me find it. can you just share this with the board? And that way, when we're ready to present, they'll have a list of questions ready for us. Please forward it to the rest of your fellow board members. We're looking forward to meeting. So hang on, let me find your heads again on my screen. So I'll forward that out to you guys, and then Councilwoman Corbin, you can definitely take the lead on that, and I can give you their contact information for setting up a date with them at one of the January board meetings.
Should we?
And if I can once again try to say what I was going to say without putting anybody into a tither, one of the things we've got to keep in mind when we look at that is the fact that there's no water. I talked to the guy, the horse's friend, and he said, we have to have water. That's why I split the RR Rush Riverside Refuge up for Phyllis to do the LWRP while I continue to push the water.
Okay.
Now, if somebody wants to say anything on top of that, feel free to do so, but I just want everybody to be grounded. We need water.
Agreed.
And for the fair also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, all right, see, now there would be my question. If, and this is a big if, the horse's friend is using that property, is there going to be availability for the fair?
Availability
I
of,
believe we asked
Because they
that
would-
question when we were
Because they would be-
there.
I don't see a conflict.
But they would have the barns in use for their horses, they would have, I mean, they would be using the facility on a daily basis.
Yeah, the fair is in use for what,
3
10
days.
days every year,
3 days.
3 days.
It's like a week before and a week after.
Okay, all right.
Set up and
Set up
take
and
down.
take down. So,
And-
yeah, I mean, do we kick the horse's friend out?
Phyllis,
Do
we asked that question when we were there, and they said that that was not going to be a problem, that they would be able to move wherever they had to so that be utilized. But that's a question to follow up with.
Yeah, so, but that's part of the,
All
The
things
fair
to be
doesn't really
considered.
use the horse barn, but the horse barn really needs a
Right.
roof.
yeah, so, all right,
Yeah.
well, that's,
They know that.
I thought that you arranged to get a roof on the horse barn.
Somehow it got lost.
Somehow it got lost. Well,
I had a proposal for a metal roof on it and.
it never went anywhere.
never
maybe
went
I'll
anywhere.
come back into my roof mode.
Oh, who was gonna do it?
I had those Amish guys lined up
But they
and I was
can't.
told,
Amish.
can't use them, you gotta, Dan's got somebody.
Well, you've
No,
got to
you
use
can't use
prevailing
the
Oh, we have
wage,
to use prevailing wages.
prevailing wage and insurance. Right,
We'll figure
So
something.
Supervisor, that
That'd be
leaves us with the town hall maintenance. Town hall maintenance. No one has grabbed that one yet. Is that something you think we should all work on as a group?
Can you say that again?
I
think
said between the two of us, no one has taken the town hall preventive maintenance top priority. And I know Councilwoman Wickerham thought that maybe this is something all of us should be working on together.
I've got that already assigned,
to who?
Oh,
because I know he would love to have it.
Who?
are you taking it, Supervisor? Who's
Pointing
taking
at
it?
Dan. Pointing at
Oh.
Dan.
You're here again.
Yeah. I see, and this is something that I think should be, we need to include the maintenance person.
John Frew and Dick Schneider.
Yeah,
are
need to be
key that.
included in on this, for questioning and the town clerk and, Kirsten downstairs and even somebody from.
We're
but
just
yeah,
looking
this-
for who's going to facilitate
Who's gonna-
it. That's what we need. We need a leader on this one.
My intent is to take the list, remember the liaison list?
Yep, yep,
And put names after functions
Okay,
and then circulate it.
okay. And
Okay.
so, Councilwoman Corbin, are you suggesting that one person take the lead on this from the five of us? And then who has the time? Because this one definitely is gonna be time consuming on
I agree.
initially. Putting the plan together is gonna take some time and,
Let me try to talk to John Frew and Dick Schneider and
Okay.
and just see what their ideas are.
okay, because they may already have a list
Yeah,
that they
I
think of.
can meet with John Frew. He's here early in the morning
Okay, all
before I
right.
go to work.
Do you want to at least start the process then? Okay,
Thanks,
Okay.
Dan.
So I can at least for now put your name behind that.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
okay.
All right.
Funny.
I guess I can read the December and January board dates because the governor has
Mhm,
given his executive order to January 3rd of 21.
mhm.
So we have a town board on
Yeah.
January 13th,
Yep,
the organizational meeting, and then January 27th is the town board meeting.
Yep.
Zoning board, January 14th, and planning board is the 19th scheduled,
but it's
Cancel.
canceled. It
Cancel.
was
It is
canceled,
canceled.
what I thought.
canceled. And then the conservation board is January 7th.
Conservation board is January 7th.
Okay.
All right. We can move into the public comment period. And this is the period where you can ask questions. If we have answers, we will provide them. If we can't, we will get back to you. And I ask you again to please be aware of who's listening and show courtesy. And let's do this in a very diplomatic way. So have at it.
Sure, the first person is Janet Glocker. And Janet, if you could unmute yourself and just state your name and address for the record. I'm trying to find you. Where are you? There she is, Janet. There you are. All right.
Am I unmuted?
Yep, I unmuted you and then I asked to start your video if you want to start your video.
Oh, no, thank you.
Okay. All right, just say your address for Pam, and then after Janet, it's Catherine Hankins.
Okay. I live at 791 Rush Henrietta Town Line Road. And I'd like to briefly comment on PFAS materials. I've been reading about them. They're very complicated. There's a whole bunch of compounds that are classified that way. Two of them are well understood, researched. There are dosage levels set. I think Ms. Wickerham commented on that. But the problem is there are thousands of them. And the analogs, those thousands, are not well understood. And they are popping up all over the world. They are dangerous materials. Some people call them forever chemicals. They bioaccumulate, which means they get into the soil and the water. They get into the food chain and ultimately into humans. So understanding them is important, especially because they are used on solar panels or on some solar panels. The EPA has asked for comments on imported goods coming into the country with any of the compounds in the PFAS category. China is producing 60% of the world's solar panels. So the question becomes, are any Chinese solar panels coming in with PFAS materials. China does not have a particularly good environmental record. And it's concerning enough that the New York State Attorney General joined 17 other states' attorneys general, in talking to the EPA about bringing in imported goods with the PFAS compounds. The problem is we don't know which compounds are on solar panels. We don't know if all solar panels have compounds. We don't know about leaching of the materials over time. And when we sit here on the Genesee River with all the streams contributing to the river, and when we have lots of people here in town that have wells, it's something we need to pay attention to. So I just asked the town board to keep this front and center in their investigations. The challenge with many of these regulations is they won't be completed before we have solar panels installed. And we don't want to have lots and lots of panels installed only to find out that they have dangerous materials on them. We certainly don't want to have solar panels that are damaged, that are stored here and potentially leaching. New York State does not have a law requiring the recycling of solar panels. So that is another issue when we get to the decommissioning stage with some of these solar issues. So I just ask you to please pay attention to this. It's ongoing. We don't know what we don't know, and that's a terrible place to be in with respect to risk. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you, Janet. Catherine, you're next, but Jim Wilkins, I saw that you raised your hand. Did you want to speak in the public comment period?
Yes.
Okay, all right, you will go after Catherine. So Catherine,
Okay.
if you can unmute yourself and state your name and address as well. Catherine, you have to unmute yourself. Oh,
Yeah,
there you go.
I got it.
Okay.
I can go after Jim. I think hopefully he's a few days older than me, so he wants to go first. Oh, all right. No.
You're right.
Jim, do you
You're
want
right.
to?
You want to go first, Jim?
Sure, I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the first time I've ever Zoomed, and it's right now my picture shows my daughter because I used her ID to get in, and I got too old too soon for these computers, but I'm finally figuring out how to do it.
There you go.
Yeah, there you are.
We can see you now.
Oh yeah, it's been a very interesting meeting. This is the first time I've done this. Like I say, if my daughter, I called her on the phone and she put me through, but I didn't know how to do the pictures and everything. Anyway, I just wanted to say that I haven't been around in a long time because of what's going on, and like I say, I hadn't Zoomed it ever before, so I said, well, it's been months since I've even been, attended a town board meeting like everybody else. My only comment is it's a lot quieter when you do it this way. It seems like there's a lot less animosity in the room, which is sort of nice. I'm glad to see everybody's getting along. My only comment, I only have one comment, and it's on the property that Jack Moore wants to do. I know in the past, and I'm not trying to blame anybody, and certainly not the town board, but I know people in town are always against most everything that comes into this town as far as big projects. I know that we lost millions of dollars in when we turned down the property up at Foster Brooks. It was upwards of $10 million up there. It was probably millions when we the town didn't want Dorschel to come into town, which I thought was unfortunate. This project here, I don't know anything about it. It's the first I've heard about it, but this project seems like a no-brainer. It's right off the expressway. It's not going to add any traffic to the center of town which is already congested with just traffic coming off the expressway. But it sounds like something we really should investigate. And I know there's going to be a group of people. Now, if I was a neighbor, I probably wouldn't want it, but I know there's going to be a group of people that are not going to want it in this town. I just urge the board to have an open mind and try to think of what's best for the town. I mean, individuals, you're not going to make everybody happy. 50% of this country isn't happy. So we're not going to make everybody happy. But it would be, I think it's something we got to start looking at. This is a bedroom town. We're not going to make a lot of changes. There's not going to be a lot of things happening. But over by the expressway, that's where, in 30 years ago, that's where there was supposed to be some industrial and commercial. And I know that the board knows this, but when you put commercial businesses in this town, you get part of the sales tax comes back to the town as direct income. So, I mean, that's important to this town. I mean, I'm not for, the center of town is not going to change. That's the way it is. It's the way it's going to be. It's never going to change. And I'm fine with that. And I think most of the town is the way it should be. The only place I can see where we could have any kind of industrial commercial activity is by the expressway from where the industrial park is to Official Road. That's the only place that we should allow anything like that. If it's a good company and a good program. So that's all I have to say. And I just want to congratulate all the new members. It seems like at least in public you get along. So that's sort of refreshing. And I look forward to seeing you, in person next year sometime. I'm probably going to get the shot pretty quick because I'm not in too good a shape, but what the heck. But I hope everybody gets it, and I'll see you when I can see you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you,
Nice to
Jim.
see you.
Thank you, Jim. I agree with you always.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Catherine. And I'll forget about being big about my age.
Yeah, I'm sure we can count it in days. I'm right behind you. We like the same music. So I just wanted to say a few things. One is that from my perspective, from my experience over the last year, we really should continue to try to recruit Victoria to stay in her position. She has allowed us to have some continuity for some projects that are long overdue. I would really reinforce that our comprehensive plan is not 2010, it's 1993. And I applaud Jim for speaking out, but the reason why we do not have coordinated, sophisticated, smart zoning in our town, and we continue to have rezoning, or for some people, it is spot zoning, or people not knowing what's going to come into their next door lot, or lots that were agriculture. It is unacceptable to have our comprehensive plan be seen as ongoing. And a comprehensive plan is a process, a very laborious, tedious, comprehensive process. So we try to look at it. I remember Jeff Warner said it should be a long process. I said it should be a targeted process. We are both right. It's going to be a long, arduous process that's a year long, if not longer, but it should be a targeted process and make sure that everyone is on board. It should not be authorized or influenced by the governing board, but sophisticated approach to help the planning board do their job. They did it in 1993. Maybe they need a different kind of configuration now that the law changed in 1994. And now we need a new board. Ryan Lang is absolutely right that we need to have consultants, not just a consultant to help as a facilitator, but one to do all the new maps. So we're doing that pre-planning, and Victoria has done a remarkable job of making sure everyone is engaged, everyone's enlisted, but we're making a big mistake to not continue that process with the leadership of our deputy supervisor. So that's one thing. The second is public officers law requires that the public have the information that's going to be discussed at the meeting, whether it's a resolution, whether it's a map. The public is involved from the very beginning. That is the public officer's law. And if it's available, it should be made available. Now, some things we have to come into the town hall to see, but if I wanted to see the abstract as a citizen, I have a right to see that abstract before the town board votes on it. That's the public officer's law. It's an open sunshine law, everything that's in the public view. So it's a public meeting and it's covered under public officer's law. So there is no, unless you go into an executive session, we should have access to the materials. So when people wrote in the chat box saying, hey, and Victoria tried to alert the board that this conversation was going without the public being informed and aware and being able to participate, that's not right. And for having Councilperson Corbin speak out, so there has to be a recognition by all board members of what public officers law requires the board to do. And then third thing, and then I'm finished, is that we don't want to wait for the Tree City. That is going to be a foundation for us to apply in the fall of 21. The board doesn't have to do everything. Rush RPA can do all of the homework for that. And you ask your questions, we will find those answers. And we're not reinventing the wheel. We're borrowing the best of what we have in our own backyard, Brighton, Wheatland. We do not have to make it up. We can just do the best. And then last, in 2021, why can't we do value-based budgeting? You know, if we're going to have $25,000 come in from solar, let's put that into making sure that the water for that area is good water. We should be very careful of the PFAS. I have been on the Healthy Children's Project across New York State for a number of years now. I'm a member of that, but nationwide, I'm on the Learning Disabilities Association Task Force for Healthy Children's. These are very serious chemicals, and we should not be having some facilities, industrial facilities located where there is no public water. So that's the comprehensive plan process that would allow us to say, this is a good spot. This is in a good spot. So please don't think of it as an ongoing process. We should have a moratorium on all development in this town until we get that homework done. So people that move into this town can know what's going to go on in their backyard. So I agree with Jim Wilkins. I agree with Jerry Kusi. I agree with Ryan Lang. I agree with Victoria. I agree. But we need a process to make sure that no one is going to be surprised at what goes on in their neighborhood 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Catherine.
Catherine.
Thank you, Catherine. All right, Dave Slabursky, where is he? There he is.
Right
If you
there.
could just state your name and address for Miss Busey.
Absolutely. Dave Slabursky, 69 West Rush Road. Just, I think, 3 comments here to dovetail off of Jim and Catherine. Kind of unintended consequences. 20 years ago, I think it was East River Road, the bridge near West Rush Road where I live, was detoured, was worked on. And so all the traffic was pushed down West Rush Road. And that never changed. People found that shortcut, and this was before Google. And then since Google, anybody that's south and west of Avon gets pushed through West Rush Road. They just Google it and say, that's where I'm going to go. That's a nice shortcut. So we're a major thoroughfare right now. And despite the fact that New York State and the county won't lower the speed limit, not that that would help, it's rather busy. So we don't know anything about the Moore plan, but it's what I'm alluding to, unintended consequences. We'll just assume, oh, all the trucks are going to go on and off 390 like a thoroughfare. Well, that might not be the case. So, we have to look at these things, do the studies, and just, check it all out. So due diligence is what I'm after. A town website. I've asked for this before, and I just want to continue to pound the hammer. That it would be nice to have a page listing all the local businesses. The town does not have to promote those businesses, but it'd be nice to have a listing of, I want to do business in this town. I've poured hundreds of thousands of dollars into my property, and I go to local contractors, whatever, all the time first. So, that's a good thing for all of us to have. In the past, that was never the case. And the last part is the comprehensive plan about businesses. Having professionals come in or whatever, What is the definition of a business, a home business, a consultant? COVID has even pushed that even more to prove that we can work from home. I have a business. I'm sitting right here and I just finished mixing a feature film. Do I have traffic in my driveway? No, but I can do that. All of us can do many things. The supervisor was a consultant at one time. We've all do these things. So in the comprehensive plan, we have to look at what is actually doable and not just cookie cutters saying, oh, you call yourself a business, you can't do that in your home anymore. Things have changed and they're going to change even more. So I'm not sure there's going to be a definition, but we should really look at how that is implemented and what we can do to bolster that, because there are things you can do in your home without having signs and things like that. So that's basically my comments to wrap up this night. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. And there is no one after Dave.
All right. Then I will announce that we are going into an executive session to discuss an ongoing litigation. We will return to this meeting. We will have no more discussion at this meeting when we return. Thank you all for coming.
Can I make a motion to enter into an executive session at 9:39 PM tonight to
I've been
discuss,
waiting.
to go ongoing litigation?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So how does this little thing work? We
You
turn it
gotta
off.
wait until all this,
I thought that was great.
That was good.
you gotta wait till all this is done.
Okay.
You guys can't turn it off because then I can't be there and John can't be there. and Victoria can't be there.
No, you can get us through Zoom still.
But
Oh, okay.
She's on Zoom.
yeah,
That's also Zooming us.
yeah, yeah. No, but we can't turn that off or she'd be off of Zoom.
No,
Right.
she's right here.
Through this. Oh, no.
No, she's here.
This is Abigail
Yeah.
Costello.
All right, I
Where they all
locked
go?
the meeting.
I think
and
we're
it's
still on YouTube Live,
Oh, hang on. Thank you, John.
And it's recording.
and it's recording.
Okay. So,
Now,
Jerry?
do I ask for input?
Yes.
Individual, yes or no's?
Well, do you want to just have a discussion on it?
That's up to you.
Okay, I'm willing to, I think that the resume and the interview, I think that Catherine and Pam are satisfied that her experiences and her knowledge are something that they could be, that Pam is going to have to work with because it's, yeah. And, and Jerry, but that's, I don't see
You don't
any-
have to work with me.
no, I don't see any opposition from me that,
I value the input of who was present during the actual interviews, and
Face-to-face, yeah.
Pam was privy to all those.
Pam
yes,
was a participant and so
Right,
was Catherine.
so I
and so was
rely
I.
on their opinions.
Yeah.
More weighted than what I had in my 10 minutes of meet time.
Yeah.
But she certainly seemed qualified.
right,
It seemed like a good fit as a resident. I think it's a great opportunity to have someone like that on board. I don't know the other three applicants or
Right.
who all put forward, but I would say
Yeah.
that the one that you presented was very strong.
Yeah.
And looks like would be a good fit for the team.
I think the only discussion that we need to have is where do we start salary?
And I'll mail that to you tomorrow.
Okay.
I trust Pam and Catherine's
Yeah.
opinion.
You don't trust mine?
I didn't hear yours.
Three of you.
Carrie, a good secretary manages the person that she works for.
I know, Catherine has been trying that for 6 months.
Supervisor Hankins is doing.
That's right.
Amber, are you trying to say something?
I said I support your decision, Jerry, on who you would like to have work for you. Ultimately, it's
All
your
right, then the
decision.
last thing ready or left to do is I will send a email to all of you tomorrow with the start rate
Okay,
and follow that up with a offer of employment to her.
Okay.
Very good.
Good.
Yes, I think
Right.
you'd like to know sooner than later. Yep.
Yes, thank you.
Can I ask where we're at with the other applicants for interviews for the
Our boards, our
no,
sub-board. Oh,
no, the
Finance
finance director.
We have selected a finance director to go through the same process.
Okay,
We interviewed another one today, and I don't think we found her to be anywhere near as strong.
okay,
Right.
okay,
okay.
okay.
And then there's also the discussion that we need to have with regard to the fact that the salary level for that particular position seems to be way out of bounds, and that with two positions are.
Way out in left
Okay.
field.
They've got the combined salary of a budget director and the finance manager, or finance director and a budget.
Well, they did that to be cute.
No, I understand
Well,
that,
and
but
that's-
it's something
and-
that needs to be addressed,
Yeah,
I think.
as
So,
far as
yeah.
what is the job description?
Right,
and
so I don't
the-
know if the, like, the advertisement for the particular position says finance director, $18 an hour, if that's step one, or if there's even steps, or you're looking for, you know, you can outsource the position to,
Yes.
you know, these accounting firms that have that sort of.
I
setup.
will include that rate that I
Okay,
proposed
perfect.
with that
Perfect,
Outstanding.
tomorrow.
okay.
All right, that's
Perfect.
all I have. I just want, so we've had one interview so far that of a qualified candidate?
No, we've had a couple of interviews, but we selected one candidate.
So
One-
far.
One that rose to the top,
Okay, well, that's good. That's promising. Is there
okay.
more opportunity for people to come in?
Or is
We
that,
don't have anybody else to look at.
okay,
Okay, so we could maybe extend the,
And we spent,
we could
Yeah.
extend the application
Yeah,
process?
Jerry had one more person, but, that other person you talked to.
oh,
ahead of
she
time-
backed out.
Yeah, she,
oh,
Okay,
okay,
she was
yeah.
looking for something different.
She
Okay.
backed out.
okay. So we've closed the application process for the finance director.
Secretary and finance
Okay,
director.
so
that,
right now,
that's what that has been closed
I'd like-
for fine.
I'd like
It
to
will
ask
be
a
tomorrow.
question on the, if I could ask a question on the finance director. Can you put in writing to us the different parts that Ryan was just bringing up and I brought up from the budget? All the different categories that the finance director has been being compensated for, just so we know each one with visually in front of us so we can better understand.
We will get that tomorrow.
so, and Amber, are
Thank
you
you.
asking also for like the job description for the different areas that they've been compensating for as well? Or just the
Correct,
title?
because when we were doing the budget, when speaking with the current finance director, I'm saying, well, why are you doing the budget for this? He goes, I don't know, it was always just part of it, but he was doing things for, budgeting for the town hall and things like that. It's just like, that seems like it should have fallen under the supervisor. Why are you being compensated for that? So those, if we can get it all organized and detailed and make sense, it's the perfect time to do it.
Right, before we make
Do
an
you
offer.
understand what the problem was?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
I think that question, if I could try to answer that question, the person who appoints a budget officer is statutory. And so the supervisor, because the supervisor is the chief budget officer of the municipality, can then essentially appoint a delegate as a budget officer to assist him in the preparation of budgetary activities. How that is compensated, however, is a function of the board approving a particular compensation for the budget officer.
okay, all right,
So that's,
okay,
so the supervisor gets to pick it effectively, but if the salary is set by, and organizationally speaking, we do it every year. If you,
Right,
the organizational meeting,
Right.
resolutions are to appoint that
right,
individual.
right. So, but a budget officer isn't necessarily a required position.
Finance. Right.
The finance director is I don't even know if
town
that's
meeting
true.
law says that,
Sort of
yes.
weird.
You have to have a finance director, but as a budget officer,
Don't need it.
we don't need it. But if the supervisor needed to have an extra set of hands to help him do that, he could appoint someone within,
That's true.
okay,
Yep,
but
But in this place,
within the town, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or someone outside of, it just
Right.
can't be, in my recollection is it can't be a town board member.
Board member, right,
But
right,
it can
right,
be anybody else.
yeah, yeah, okay,
in this case, there was
yeah,
unusual
right. Yeah, but yeah,
activity.
well, exactly,
But we have the right to be able to extend any type of hiring or date or application date, correct?
Sure.
So it's, I was just asking, have we had a viable candidate make application for that position? Yes. Okay.
okay,
I know one was not good. The person that you did interview, you have somebody in the
okay.
works
You think that
that might be suitable.
of the candidates who have already applied, you have one that you believe would be a good fit?
Yes.
Okay, that's,
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't
Okay.
extend or send
Okay.
another ad out.
Okay, all right,
Oh, we're not gonna put another ad out.
because you want finance
That's your
director.
raise next year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we're not getting a raise.
hey,
Okay,
I just happen to know an accountant,
Okay.
you know.
okay.
Hey, and I'd like to make, can we have just general chat?
Sure.
Yeah, we're back in.
We're
the-
back in, yeah,
the
we're
regular
back in,
meeting, so
yeah, in a
whatever-
general
whatever
meeting. We
the,
can talk about whatever we
good of
want.
the
I
order.
don't know how much you guys know about the budget, the money, the whatever,
Yeah,
but I had one of you send me a response saying the town is almost broke. And I want to go on record as telling you and you and you and you and Amber that the town isn't anywhere near broke. Nowhere near broke.
We got some money.
we got, yeah.
Huh?
We've got some money.
Yeah, I don't know who's telling you we're broke.
We've got some money.
Yeah, we've got money,
Got a lot of money.
yeah, that we need to
And in fact,
appropriate.
one of the reasons that I was not at all hesitant to spend the money on the library roof
Right, exactly.
is because it's just a matter of time
Yeah.
before the state controller
Mhm.
looks at the money and says, what
What
the
the
hell are
heck?
you holding that for?
Exactly.
Well, I can see more going towards a comprehensive plan then.
Yeah.
I just-
Maintenance to this building would be nice. Yeah.
Dan's already volunteered to come down and change the filter in the first.
You know, we are not broke.
Okay, good.
I'm not trying to make a joke, but we
No,
could hire
we're not.
10 deputy supervisors and it wouldn't show.
Yeah, no, but that's not a good use of public dollars, so we're good.
I thought you couldn't see the levity in the
Yeah,
statement.
no, you're good. Okay, so are we?
I would like to just say it was a good use of taxpayer dollars to compensate our deputy supervisor, the amount of work that she did throughout this year when we were down 2 people, the amount of work that us had to do and what she was able to do and get accomplished. So that was an excellent use of taxpayer dollars, a very minimal amount compared to what has been paid to other people to do very little in the town throughout the years. So Victoria, from my heart to you and from all the residents in the town, I want to go on record that I agree with Catherine Hankins. You need to stay on to continue the hard work you have been doing because the residents greatly appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Amber.
100%.
All right, so shall we move to adjourn tonight's meeting?
I move that we adjourn our meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
And
Thank you for the owl.
Yes, the owl
Thank you
is
for the
coming
last
back.
minute
I'm just
owl.
getting, I was nervous. I'm like, I hope it works.
Yeah, it
We
did.
didn't do a
Worked
test
great.
run through it, but it worked pretty
Yeah,
extremely
I
well.
love that.
flawlessly. And I was watching you. You couldn't see, but from someone that was watching it on the Zoom,
Zoom.
it was pivoting. As
Okay.
you
Yeah,
were
I saw
talking.
it.
It was-
Did it pick up the voice and pivot, or did it pivot the whole time?
It picks up the voice first and then tilts
Okay.
the camera towards the
Okay,
person speaking.
okay.
But I heard everybody
Motion-
pretty
okay.
good.
And
I
Zoom
think.
kind of goes to that person.
Yeah,
If you
oh,
start talking-
exactly, exactly.
What's that? How much? That one, there's 2 versions. That one is $1,000. It's the Pro, and that what it does is
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm